Well, good morning. Welcome to the High Speeds live class. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody. All right, we'll go ahead and get started with common words. Here we go. Ready? Suggest, additional, advised, late, assure, often, especially, carpet, white, wonderful, nearly, ship, dance, claim, dated, experience, family, forwarded, live, spring, copies, doctor, particular, interesting, idea, sample, land, start, hoping, proper, father, head, word, church, world, requested, grade, feeling, hardly, items, ought, convenience, reached, sell, public, poor, store, times, street, original, continue, past, planning, save, understanding, judgment. All right, let's cover some common phrases that we often hear. Here we go. If I was, if I were, if the, if you believe, if you believed, if you feel, if you felt, if you have, if you recollect, if you remember, if you should, if you want, if you wanted, if you were, if you would. I can't imagine, I didn't imagine, I don't imagine, in addition, in an effort, in each, in effect, in evidence, in fact, in lieu of, in my opinion, in other words, in order to, in our opinion, in reference, in regard, in respect, in spite of, in the, in view of, in your opinion, in your own words, in as much as, in so far as, into account, into effect, into the, it also, is that a fact? Is that all? Is that correct? Is that not? Is that right? All right, let's do a basic brief review from theory. You're going to hear gentleman, gentlemen, go, shall, should, much, but. And here are your sentences. That is a very good idea. Levi is a gentleman. The gentleman at the boat show was pleased. We were not sure whether we should go today. Let me say that last sentence again. The gentlemen at the boat show were pleased. Shall we go early? No, but we should be there on time. That is a good choice of words. Is he the gentleman seated to your left? How much longer shall I wait for you? He should be a good source, but if not, call the gentleman at the library. Is he a gentleman? He was rude, but I think he is a gentleman. His manners are usually good. Should we call the gentleman at the company? The train should be here soon. I shall go to meet it. It should be a good thing for you to do, but it is not imperative. That is a good plan. I shall tell the gentleman in charge. You should brush your teeth. Okay, now I've got a basic phrase review. This is going to cover I shall, we shall, you shall, should I, should you, do you, how much. Let me just state this. All right, here we go. I shall tell you. Should you tell what you know? How much do you know? How much did you pay? How much should you pay? Should he pay the bill? Should I call you? I shall tell you how much. Should you do that? I shall pay it, but the rate is high. You shall be punished, but the punishment is fair. You shall finish your work. How much is there left? All right, let's do a number drill. These are dates with item numbers. Here we go. June 4, BX 9731. January 12, DJ 4814. May 19, TE 7951. September 16, MH 6907, May 31st, TX 3741. December 5, PV 390, April 22, RL 3250. July 31, EH 2662. February 15, KF 3756. August 27, BK 6887. September 3, TR 4751. February 3, NS 5832. March 7, AC 4802. March 9, GL 4370. November 12, TJ 4016. October 17, AL 2305. November 3, JM 509. October 15, HW 5038. Now I've got some multisyllabic words that are 3 strokes. All right, here we go. Amplitude, Capricorn, abutment, disinfect, espresso, goalkeeper, centrifuge, dynamic, ceramic, crystallize, generic, ignorant, falsetto, pneumonia, exercise, psychosis, drunkenness, peacemaker, allergy, jamboree, subversive, accustom, carbolic, consensus, disinfect, hypnotic, leadership, gigantic, contemplate, embassy, excessive, Hispanic, ellipsis, circumcise, foolhardy, yellowish, cucumber, agnostic, thoughtfulness, abundant, vindictive, dealership, disgruntle, calendar, contraband, forerunner, crackerjack, counterpart, fiberboard, hairdresser, enforcement, contingent, eccentric, horseradish, cylinder, jerkwater, portfolio, lethargic, remorseful, abusive, indecent, incubation. All right, let's do some consonant compounds. This focuses on initial consonants TW. Here we go. Try not to twist the twine and twinge. Her arm had a twinge of pain from the twine at 12. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, oh, how lucky you are. Will Rogers twirled ropes and made me twitch and twinge. When a twirler twirls a twirl, it twists. Tornadoes are called twisters. She twisted him around her finger with twine. He didn't care a twit or a twinge. That twitch was caused by pain in the twitter. You can recognize a twitcher with a twinge at 12. It sets me in a twitter like a twirler twirls. There's many a slip twixt cup and lip. Twizzle means to twirl like a twizzle twirler. The cloth was of twill and I was tween. The twine was twisted twice. The twigs were in a twizzle because of the twirler. 20 words twice given are twins. Twins are not like twin twigs. Twirlers and tornadoes are not made of twill and twisted. Twigs can be twisted like twine in a twister. All right, let's do some sentences that focus on the long O. Here we go. Rover rolled over clover. Joe has chrome wheels. Don't blow the coals. Pop worships the Pope. The new show has folded. I was told the old joke. Spend the whole bonus. I was told he was a rogue. The new show has folded. You dole out the coal. The stone rolled over. He spoke about the hoax. He smoked the roach. Phone us from his home. He chose that old cloak. The toll is 2 tokens. They drove slowly home. He choked on the oatmeal. He was a noble Trojan. He broke the new code. The boat is in the cove. He chose a new cloak. Joan will grow fast. The old man had a stroke. A cop has to cope well. His goal is too low. His goal was to own one. Goad him not to loaf. Tie the rope in a bow. I like my coke to be cold. Rover caught the bone. He has grown wild oats. I hope to close the deal. They lowered the dome. I scolded the loafer. The coach told him to win. That soap is foaming. He rode his moped home. The pole was blown over. Don't mope over it. They drove to the cove. Throw the bowling ball. The scope is broken. Who can fold the most? She lives on Oak Knoll Street. Can you hold your own? He bought a snow cone. The crow has flown over. It flows into the hole. Note that quotation. He spoke with a brogue. He is prone to boast. Fold the old gold robe. Listen to the toad croak. My old dope was stolen. All right. Now, this drill here focuses on of the, to the, for the. It's a little bit of everything. Here we go. Back of the door, report to the house, stop for the light, man of the hour, call to the station, party for the kids, end of the war, letter to the editor, subject for the speech, leg of the chair, end of the war, note to the principal, chair for the patio, top of the heap, reference to the bill, gift for the child, rear of the car, advice to the patient, home for the aged, ticket for the event, petition to the court, office of the president, response to the ad, date for the trial, view of the scene, papers to the senator, tragedy for the family, butt of the rifle, papers to the president, hanging for the wall, case to the jury, root of the problem, party to the action, passes for the concert, piece of the rock, will of the majority, second to the motion, money for the homeless, report of the investigation, visit to the doctor, reason for the crime, witness for the state, objection to the question, force of the collision, nose to the grindstone, counsel for the defense, treatment of the injury. All right, let's do some names and addresses. Here we go. Ann Arbor Public Library, Reference Department, 343 South 5th Avenue, Ann Arbor, Michigan, 48104. Mr. Liam Waldron, Waldron, 200 Salisbury Avenue, Anaheim, California, 93117. Ms. Deanna G. Black, BLACK, Sunbanks Corporation, P.O. Box 2848, Orlando, Florida, 32802. Christy J. Gingrich, Gingrich, 2450 East 51st Street, Suite B7, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 74105. Ms. Virginia W. Barrett, BARRET, PCEC Company, 417 Montgomery Street, San Francisco, California, 94104. Eleanor A. Wiles, WILES, AB Syndicate Incorporation, AB Syndicate Corporation, 230 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York, 10001-7793. Mrs. Constance L. Hirsch, Hirsh, 5010 Walther Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21214. Sheila L. Graham, Graham, P.O. Box 883, Rye, Texas, 77369. John Higginbotham, Hagginbothan, Alief Independent School District, P.O. Box 68, Alief, Texas, 77410. All right, our last drill is going to be Tangle Tamers. Here we go, ready? Initiated libel, threatened extinction, celebrity diplomats, attempted assassination, eradication program, residential pesticides, successful inoculation, contemporary cabinetry, heavyweight champion, legitimate comparisons, government acquisition, remained unchanged, co-founders resignation, maximum profits, illegally circumvented, fingerprint system, considered classified, co-partnership. All right, let's go ahead and start some literary. I've got a poem for you to start out with. This is called Sarah Cynthia Sylvia Stout Would Not Take the Garbage Out. Fun one. I will read this at 200. Here we go. Sarah Cynthia Sylvia Stout would not take the garbage out. She'd scour the pots and scrape the pans, candy the yams and spice the hams. And though her daddy would scream and shout, she simply would not take the garbage out. And so it piled up to the ceilings, coffee grounds, potato peelings, brown bananas, rotten peas, chunks of sour cottage cheese. It filled the can, it covered the floor, it cracked the window and blocked the door. With bacon rinds and chicken bones, drippy ends of ice cream cones, prune pits, peach pits, orange peels, gloppy glumps of cold oatmeal, pizza crusts and withered greens, soggy beans and tangerines, crust of black burned buttered toast, gristly bits of beefy roast. The garbage rolled on down the hall. It raised the roof, it broke the wall. Greasy napkins, cookie crumbs, globs of gooey bubble gum, cellophane from green bologna, rubbery, blubbery macaroni, peanut butter caked and dry, curdled milk and crusts of pie, moldy melons, dried up mustard, eggshells mixed with lemon custard, cold French fries and rancid meat, yellow lumps of cream of wheat. At last the garbage reached so high that it finally touched the sky, and all the neighbors moved away, and none of her friends would come to play. And finally Sarah Cynthia Stout said, "Okay, I'll take the garbage out." And then, of course, it was too late. The garbage reached across the state, from New York to the Golden Gate, and there in the garbage she did hate. Poor Sarah met an awful fate that I cannot right now relate, because the hour is much too late. But children, remember Sarah Stout, and always take the garbage out. All right. So I'm going to do a continuation from O.J. Simpson's book, which the Goldman family changed it to Confessions of the Killer, but they say that they left all the other details. They didn't change any of his words from the book. So this is what we're reading. This is from The Night in Question that OJ wrote. Okay, here we go. I'll start at 180 and work my way to 200. The phone rang again, the lower light, and I reached for it. "Yeah, man," I said, "I know you're here. I overslept and just got out of the shower. My bags are out front." I hit the code and opened the front gate so he could drive through and get the bags, and hung up and finished dressing. Then I hurried downstairs and went outside. The driver was still putting the bags into the trunk of the white limo. Hey, I said. Good evening, Mr. Simpson. We about set here? Yes, sir. At that moment, Cato showed up looking spooked. Did you hear that? He said. What? I said. That banging noise, he said. A big thump out back near the fence. I didn't hear it, I said. I was in the shower. He must have heard me hit the trash cans. It was a really loud fucking noise, OJ. It scared the hell out of me. Cato seemed to think that someone had been lurking around that part of the house, and he asked me to have a look, so I humored him. We went off in the separate directions, and after about a minute, we reconvened near the front door. I didn't see anything, I said. You got a flashlight, he said. Jesus, Cato, I'm trying to get out of here. You go look for it and lock up when you're done. Cato went into the house still spooked, and I got into the limo and took off. I think the driver was nervous about being late or something because he got confused at sunset and took the wrong entry ramp onto the 405 freeway. Once we were en route, I called Cato to tell him to make sure to set the alarm. I didn't get through to him, but I remember having told him to lock up, and I hope he was smart enough to set the alarm. Man, I told the driver, it feels like I spend my whole life racing to and from airports and getting on and off airplanes. I know what you mean, the driver said. When we got to the airport, I checked in at the curb, like I always do, and watched the skycap tag the bags. A couple of fans came by for autographs, and I was happy to oblige. On my way to the gate, I signed a few more autographs, and when I boarded the plane, I shook hands with a couple more fans. One of them was curious about my ring. He thought it was my Super Bowl ring, but it was actually my Hall of Fame ring, and he took a closer look and admired it. I only mention this because there was supposed to be a cut on my ring finger, but it must have been a phantom cut. There was nothing but a ring there. I was asleep before the plane took off, and I slept most of the way to Chicago. A limo driver helped me get my bags, then took me to the O'Hare Plaza Hotel. It was quiet at that early hour, even at the airport, and the ride only lasted about 5 minutes. I got to my room exhausted and stripped and immediately fell asleep. But a short time later, I was awakened by the ringing phone. I picked it up. It was a cop in Los Angeles, either Philip Van Natter or Thomas Lang. I don't really remember, calling to tell me that he had some bad news. Nicole has been killed, he said. Killed, I said, not sure I'd heard him correctly. What do you mean, killed? And the cop said, OJ, we can't talk about it over the phone. We can't tell you right now, but we can tell you that the kids are all right. Where are you? I looked around the hotel room and came out of my fog. I'm in Chicago, I said. I need you to come back to LA as soon as you can, he said. He also said, I need you to come back right away. Much later during the trial, the prosecution made a big deal about my response to that phone call, claiming that I never bothered to ask what had happened to Nicole and suggesting that I didn't ask because I already knew. But that's not the way I remember it. When I was told that Nicole was dead, my first response was the one I just noted. Killed? What do you mean killed? And even when I was told that I wasn't going to get any more details, I remember asking what happened. What the fuck happened? The cop repeated himself. We can't say anything. We're still investigating. You just need to get back here. And I said, are my kids all right? And the cop said yes. And I said, okay, the kids are fine. We need you to come home now, OJ. Jesus Christ, I said. That's all you're going to say? Come home now? That's all I know? OJ, the cop replied. We'll tell you what we know when you get here. We don't know much ourselves. We'll be waiting for you at your house. I went nuts, and I remember screaming at him, begging him not to leave me in the dark, but it didn't help. When it became clear that the cops had nothing else to say, either because they didn't want to share anything with me or because they didn't know much, I slammed the phone down, stormed into the bathroom, and threw a glass across the room. It shattered against the tiled wall, sounding like a gunshot. I went back into the room and called Kathy Randa, my assistant, and told her what was going on. I just heard from the cops, I said. They told me that Nicole is dead. Dead, she said? What do you mean dead? I don't know, I replied. They say she was killed. Oh my God, she said. I told her to call the cops and get a hold of the kids and asked her to please get me the next flight to Los Angeles. Then I looked down at my hand and noticed that my finger was bleeding. I made a few more calls. I called Hertz to tell them I had to go home. I tried calling the cops again, and I called the Browns down in Dana Point. Nicole's sister Denise got on the phone hysterical. You brutal son of a bitch, she hollered. You killed her. I know you killed her, you motherfucker. Judith took the phone from her, but I couldn't understand what she was saying. I told her I was getting on the next flight back to Los Angeles and that I'd speak to her as soon as I landed. I got dressed and had the porter come up for my bags, then went down to the lobby and asked for a Band-Aid. I guess I'd cut my finger in the bathroom when I threw that glass. I was on my way to the airport fighting panic. I made a few more calls. I tried to reach Kathy to see if she knew anything else about my kids, and I again tried to call the cops. For some reason, I even tried to call Cato back at the house to see if he knew anything. When I got to the airport, I was told there was a flight leaving at 7:15, but that it was already booked. I spoke to one of the clerks, and she spoke to the manager, and they made room for me. During the course of that entire flight, I sat upright and stock still. Let me say that again. I sat upright and stock still the entire time. I felt like I was made of glass or something, and that if I moved too much, I would shatter into a million pieces. I also remember trying to control my breathing and thinking that my heart was beating all wrong. I guess I was on the edge of a panic attack. There was a guy in the seat across the aisle from me, and he noticed and asked me what was wrong. I told him that the cops had just called to tell me that my ex-wife had been killed and that I didn't even know where my kids were. He turned out to be a lawyer, and after expressing his condolences, he gave me some advice. You should contact your attorney the moment you land, he said. You're going to need someone to help you navigate your way through this. Someone? Christ, the man had no idea. I ended up needing a fucking team to get me through it, and even then, I almost didn't survive. When the plane landed, I found Kathy Wanda waiting for me at the terminal, along with Skip Taft, one of my attorneys. Both Kathy and Skip looked shocked, but probably nowhere near as shocked as I looked. Where are my kids? I said. They're safe, Kathy said. They're on their way to the Browns' place. That all your luggage? Skip asked. No, there's golf clubs, but leave them. I'll get them later. We hurried through the terminal and talked about what had happened, but they didn't know much more than I did. And I was having trouble hearing them anyways because my heart was pounding and the blood was roaring in my ears. I was fucking terrified, to be honest. Nicole was dead, gone forever, and the police were waiting for me at my house. When we were in the car leaving the airport, Skip said we should go to his office before we went to see the cops. No, I said. The cops told me they needed me right now, and they said they'd be waiting for me at my house. And I'm going to my house. I can't go to your office. I'm going straight to my house. That's what the cops asked me to do. The cops can wait, he said. We need to get a handle on this thing. No, I said. I gave them my word. I'm going. At that point, Skip turned his attention to the radio, and he began flipping through the stations. I picked up bits of information here and there. Nicole Simpson Brown was dead. There was a second victim, a young man. The murders had taken place in the courtyard of her Bundy condo. Police were waiting to talk to O.J. Simpson, who had been out of town but was apparently on his way home. The whole thing felt completely unreal, as if it was happening to someone else, not me. I looked down at my hands. They were shaking uncontrollably. What the fuck is going on? I asked Skip. Are people saying they think I did it? I can't believe people would think that of me, that I could do something like that. Skip told me to relax, that nobody could possibly think I had anything to do with the murders. Kathy also told me not to worry. Everything is going to be fine, she said. Did the kids see anything, I asked. I don't think so, Kathy said. The police took them back out through the garage, so they didn't see anything. I felt the bile rising in my throat. It was all I could do to keep myself from being sick. Call the Browns. Don't let them tell the kids what happened. I want to be the one to tell them. They're my kids. I will call them, Kathy said. When we got to the house, the place was crawling with cops and reporters. It was unreal. We drove up to the gate, and I could hear the reporters surging behind Skip's car, shouting my name and snapping pictures. All right, so we're going to stop there, and we'll finish the rest of this next week. Okay. All right, let's do some jury charge. The subject is unlawful seizure. You're going to hear reasonable, which is written R-A-E-N-L, offense. Affidavit, I like to write that as A-F-D. Some people write it as A-F-T. Indictment, I write that as D-long-I-M-T. Felony, as soon as. Reasonably, so you just come back for the A-E or the long E. Question of law, K-W-E-F-L. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Public arrest, humiliation, mortification, prosecution, that's written P-R, final G-S, false imprisonment, exemplary damages, wrongdoer, wanton or oppressive manner. Okay. And I'm going to start this at 200. I'm going to read this at 200, actually. All right, here we go. One of the inalienable rights of the individual citizen is the immunity from the unlawful seizure and detention of his person by any agency of the state. You are instructed that the general rule of the law is that no person shall be deprived of his liberty except he first be charged by affidavit or indictment with the commission of an offense, such charge being followed by a warrant duly issued and placed in the hands of an officer authorized to serve such process. To this general rule, there are certain exceptions made necessary by the needs of society. Among the exceptions is that an officer may arrest a person without a warrant from an offense committed within his view or upon information when he has reasonable or probable cause to believe that such a person has committed a felony. When a person or police officer arrests a person without a warrant upon information, when he has reasonable or probable cause to believe that such person has committed a felony, it is the duty of the officer to take the person whom he has placed under arrest before some court of proper jurisdiction as soon as he can reasonably do so, to be charged with such offense by affidavit, or to be given an opportunity to be released on bond. If the officer fails to take the person so arrested before a court of proper jurisdiction as required by law, or gives him no opportunity to be released on bond, then he is liable to such person in an action for damages. You are instructed that the power of detaining a person arrested without a warrant upon information or restraining him of his liberty, even when there is reasonable or probable cause to believe that such person has committed a felony, is not a matter within the discretion of the officer making the arrest. He cannot legally hold the person arrested in custody for a longer period of time than is reasonably necessary under all the circumstances without a warrant. More or less, the mere loss of freedom cannot constitute imprisonment, even though it was unjust. The imprisonment must be unlawful. One may be acquitted upon the merits of the case or discharged upon some question of law, but that fact does not in and of itself make the restraint placed upon his liberty false imprisonment. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you find for the plaintiff, you are instructed that wounded pride, humiliation, and mortification resulting from the public arrest and the public trial are elements to be taken into consideration in assessing damages in cases of this character. You are further instructed that in case of false imprisonment and malicious prosecution, the jury may inflict exemplary damages when the facts so justify. Such damages do not necessarily depend upon malice on the part of the wrongdoer, but they may be rightfully awarded when the wrongful act is willfully done in a wanton or oppressive manner, or done in the reckless disregard of the rights of the complaining party. All right. Let's move into Q&A. How are we doing on time? Perfect. All right, we're going to start. Let's start with the dog bite case, since it's a little easier. Get warmed up with the light board. This is going to be defense questioning. All right, and I'm going to start at 180 and work my way to 200. Actually, I'll work my way to 225 with this one. Here we go. Where was he at? In the kitchen crying? Where was Josh? Running into the house when How long were you at the house after you first went in, before you went to the emergency room by the ambulance? For about 15 minutes. Did you see Josh crying at all during that 15 minutes? Yes. Were they crying for that whole time? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Continue, counsel. Thank you. Now, when you got back from the hospital, from the emergency room that day, the day that you were bitten, did you talk to Josh or to Chad? No, because it was time to go to sleep. Okay, were they awake when you got home? Yes, they were at the neighbor's house. Do you know if they came home before you went to sleep? Yes, they came home, yes. And how long were they at home before you went to sleep that night? I don't know. Did you talk to them at all that night? No. Were they crying at that time? Yes. When they were home? Yes. After you got home from the emergency room? Yes. Did you ever talk to Josh or to Chad after the night or the day of the dog bite about the dog bite? No. Never talked to them at all about it? No. Did you ever hear them talking to each other about the dog bite? No. They never asked you any questions about your leg or anything? Yes. What did they ask you? Like, what did it feel like and stuff like that? When was that? Like the day after that. What did you tell them? I don't know. Did they ever ask you any other questions about other than what it felt like after the dog bite? No. Did they ever tell you that they were afraid of dogs after the dog bite? Yes. When was that? Like that day. I'm sorry, which day? The day after I got bit by the dog. Who told you that he was afraid of a dog? Both of my brothers. Did they say which dogs they were afraid of? No. What did they say to you? They said that they were afraid of the dogs. Did they ever tell you whether they were afraid of Max or Honey or Lace? No. Did you ever see them around Max or Honey or Lace after the dog bite? Yes. Did they play with Max or? Yes. Honey or Lace? Yes. How long was the first time that you saw Josh playing with Honey or Max or Lace after the dog bite? About a couple of days after I got bit. Who was Josh playing with? With Max. And how did he play with Max at that time? Was he being rough or just? They were like chasing each other. Did Josh ever play with Max before the dog bite? Yeah. How would he play with him then? Same thing, they would chase each other. Would he try and do anything while he was chasing Max? No. Did he ever play with the ball with Max, throw a ball? Yes. Did he ever play tug of war with the dog? Yes. What did he use to play tug of war with him? A rope. Did Josh play tug of war with Max after the dog bite? Yes. Do you remember when that was? No. Did you ever see Chad playing with Max before the dog bite? Yes. Did you see Chad playing with Max after the dog bite? Well, how long after the dog bite was it that you first saw? Couple of days. That's when you first saw Chad playing with Max? Yeah. How does he play with Max? The same way. So before the dog bite, he would play tug of war and throw the ball and chase? Yeah. And did those same things happen after the dog bite? Yes. That was just a couple of days after? Yes. Do you want to stand up and stretch a little bit? No, I'm okay. All right, continue, counsel. Did you see Josh and Chad playing with the other dogs after the dog bite? Yes. That would be Honey and Lace? Yes. Was he playing? Were they playing with Honey and Lace within a couple of days after the dog bite? After your dog bite? Yes. Did you ever see Chad or Josh playing with any other dogs after the dog bite other than your own dogs? Yeah. When was that? What did you say? Did you ever see Chad or Josh playing with other dogs other than your own dogs after the dog bite? No, Let me stop you right there. I know you get very nervous, but it's really important that you let him finish his question before you answer, okay? Okay. After the dog bite, did you ever get any new dogs? No, no, no. So you just kept Max and Honey and Lace and the puppies? Yeah. Did Chad or Josh ever tell you that they had any bad dreams about the dog bite? Yes. Did you all share the same room at the house? Yes. All three of you shared the same room? Yes. Did you ever hear Chad or Josh wake up after the dog bite, crying or screaming? Yes. I'm sorry, you have to speak up, okay? Okay, no. When you had your bad dreams after the dog bite, did you ever wake up Chad or Josh? No. No? No. After the dog bite, well, the dog bite occurred in the summer, right? Yes. Did you start school again when school started up the following summer? Yeah. Did you ever miss any time from the beginning of school because of the dog bite? No. What grade were you in at that time? I was going into the 4th grade. Did they have recreational periods or sport periods during that time when you were in school in the 4th grade after the dog bite? No. Did they have recess? Yeah. What did you normally do during your recess? I would just run around. Did you play dodgeball? No, we usually play hide and seek. Hide and seek? Yeah. Did your 4th grade have, or did the school that you went to when you were in the 4th grade at that time after the dog bite, did it have sport teams? No. Baseball teams or basketball teams? No. Did you play hide and go seek when you first started school? No. How come? I couldn't play then. I couldn't run yet. Did you not play hide and go seek because of your leg? Yes, because I could barely run. Do you remember when you started school after the dog bite? No. Was it the same month of July? No. Do you know if it was in the following month in August? It was in September when we started school. Do you remember the first time you played hide and go seek after you started school? No, it was a while after. Did you play any other type of games during recess at school? No. Did Josh and Chad go to the same school with you? Yes. Did they have recess at the same time? No. Different times? Yeah. Before the dog bite, did you play with Max and Honey and Lace? Yes. After the dog bite, did you play with them? Oh, no. Not at all. No. Even up to today? Yes. I'm kind of afraid of them. When did you first play with Max after the dog bite? I don't know. Was it before you moved to Texas? Yeah. Was it before you started school again? No. So it was after you started school? Yes. Was it before your Christmas vacation after you first started school? No. Why was it that you didn't play with Max? I don't know. I was kind of afraid of him. You don't know really the reason why? No. And you said you were kind of afraid of him? Yes. Did you play with Max very often before the dog bite? Yes, all the time. Did you ever play with Honey after the dog bite? Yes. When was the first time? About a month after. What type of playing did you do with Honey? Tug of war? Did you throw a ball? Did Honey chase a ball? Yes. Did you ever chase after Honey? No. Did you ever play with Lace after the accident? Yes. When was the first time? About a month. Before the dog bite, did you play anything else besides baseball? No. What did your brothers and you do for fun other than playing baseball before the dog bite? We would wrestle and play catch. Did you do any of that after the dog bite? No, I couldn't. My leg would hurt. Never ever again? No. How come? My leg would hurt. Could you if you had wanted to? No. Do you get along with your brothers? No, not all the time. You like your brothers though, right? Uh-huh. When you moved to Texas in your new school, do you have recess there too? Yeah. What do they do at recess? Nothing. They just play. Do you play with them? No, not all the time. What type of play do you do when you play during the recess in Texas? I play on the playground. Is that like climbing up and down things and running around? Yeah, yes. Did you think much about the dog bite after you got your cast off of your leg? No. No? Nope. Did your brothers treat you any differently after the dog bite after you got your cast off? No. After they took the stitches out of your leg, did you still feel any pain in your leg? A little, yeah, a little. Did it ever go completely away? No. So even today you still feel some pain? Yeah. In your leg? since they took the stitches out, is the pain staying the same, or is it going up or down? Going down. Do you always feel the pain in your leg? No. Are there times when you feel it and sometimes you don't? Yeah, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Do you ever notice if anything causes you to feel the pain in your leg? No. When you do feel the pain, how long does it last? For about a day or two. And then how long is it gone before it comes back usually? I don't know. Say within the last month, how often have you felt the pain in your leg? I don't know, like every 3 days. How long does it last for? For about 2 days. Is it constant for that 2-day period? Yeah. If we say 10 is the most pain that you've ever felt in your leg and 0 is no pain at all, how would you rate the pain that you feel now? About 8, about an 8. So it's almost as much as it was at the point where it hurt you the most? Yes. Do you do anything for it when you feel the pain? No. Does it prevent you from doing anything? No. So, okay, so you're able to do everything that you would normally do? Yes, sometimes. So are there some things that you can't do because of the pain? Yes. And what is that? Well, like run. Okay, during that summer, the dog bite, did you wear shorts? Yes, I did. Okay, during that summer after the dog bite, did you wear shorts? Sometimes, yes. Did anybody ever say anything to you about your dog bite? Sometimes they would ask me what happened, and I would just say I got bit by a dog. Okay, any other parents or kids? Just different people. Sometimes parents, sometimes kids. Okay, has anybody ever said anything other than your family members or any doctors that you've seen? Has anybody ever said anything about your leg? Or no, just whenever they saw the scars, they would say, what happened to you? What happened? How did that happen? Okay, so people have asked you how it happened? Yes, people would ask me, what happened to you? Okay, what did you tell them? I would say that I got bit by a dog. How does that make you feel when they ask you, how did that happen, or what happened to your leg? I don't know. Does it bother you at all? Yes, it does, sometimes. Okay, do you still have some scars on your legs? Yes. Do those bother you? Only sometimes when people touch them, it does. What happens when people touch them? Well, it like stings a little bit. I'm sorry, I missed that last word. It stings. It stings, S-T-I-N-G-S. Yes. Oh, stings. Okay, like a bee sting? Yeah, kind of like that. Okay, does the scar seem to be going away? No, not really. Is it still the same as when it was right after they took the cast off? Yes. I don't believe I have any further questions at this time, counsel. Do you have any more? Yes, I have just a few more. Do you want to take a break with the questioning, or do you want to take a break and go get something to eat? Do you need to go to the restroom? I think I'm okay. I'd rather finish with David today before we take a lunch if we can. Okay, do they have a jungle gym at your school in Texas? Yes. Do you climb on it? Yes. Are you going to ask? No, go ahead. Okay, thank you. Have you ever been bitten by any other dog? No. Has Max ever tried to bite you? No. How about any of your other dogs like Chubby, or only when they're playing? They are just playing. And they like to bite my arm and my leg, but only when they're playing. It's just play bites. It's not real bites like they're mad or anything. Okay, that was before the dog bite accident we're talking about here today. The dog bite that happened last year. Yes, just after. After? Yes, after. How many times has Chubby bitten your arm? Well, about once or twice. Okay, has he ever broken the skin? No. Okay, when you feel that Chubby has bitten your arm, is it just play bites? Yes. Does it feel like anything? No. Were you scared? No. How about Lace? Has Lace ever bitten you? Just playfully. They only bite me when they're playing. And how many times were you playing when Lace bit you? Just twice. Okay, and that was after this dog bite incident? Yes. Were you scared when Lace bit you? No. How about with Honey? Has Honey ever bitten you? Yeah. How many times? Once. Was that after the dog bite? Yes. And do you remember where? No. Do you remember where on your skin? Just on my arm. Did Honey break the skin? No. Okay, so we're going to switch transcripts. All right. I'm going to do a little bit more of another transcript, and then we will do some read back. All right. This is also going to be defense. Here we go. I'm going to read this at 2:25. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning. My name is Tom Hudspeth, and I represent Mr. Hoodie and the Salvation Army in connection with the claim being brought against them rising out of an injury to you that occurred on June 17, 2011. Do you recall an incident at or about that day? Yes, I do. Can you state your full name and your full legal name for the record, please? My name is Helen Margaret Watts. That's W-A-T-T-S. Yes, Mrs. Watts, what we're doing here today is taking your testimony from you in this rather noisy room, unfortunately, and I'm really sorry about that. It doesn't bother me. This testimony is being taken down by the court reporter sitting to your left. Although we're in my office, it has the same force and effect as though we were in a court of law. Is that clear? Yes. You are going to be asked to review your testimony in a little booklet. It looks like a small magazine. And you're going to be asked to sign the last page swearing under penalty of perjury that what you say here today is true. Is that also clear? Yes. If you make any changes in the transcript, I can probably and will comment on it to show that you were having a problem with your memory today from when you review the transcript, or that you are being untruthful. Is that also clear? Yes. I don't want to trick you. I don't want to confuse you. I just want to find out a little information. But I'm going to assume if you answer my question that you heard it and that you understood it, and that you're giving me your best answer. Is that clear? Yes. You're also going to do a terrific job of answering the questions out loud. The lady cannot spell nods of the heads, or if you will continue with yes, sir, or no, sir, that would be great. Try not to say uh-huh or huh-uh or anything like that, okay? All right. What is your date of birth, ma'am? Although that's a tacky question, but I need to ask you for the record, what is your date of birth? August 5th, 1953. And what is your current residence address, ma'am? 336 West 20th Street, San Bernardino, California, zip code 92405. How long have you lived on West 20th Street in San Bernardino, ma'am? Off and on all of my life except for 25 years when I was married. So you've been there continuously then for a number of years? Well, I've been there now for about 25 years. Do you reside with anyone at the address? Do I what? Do you live with anyone at the address? With any family members? My son is living at home. What is your son's name? Anthony Watts. Prior to coming here today, when was the last time you were seen by a doctor for any reason? Prior to coming here today? Yes, ma'am. Who is the last doctor you saw and when was it? Dr. Rose in Riverside, and I don't know the exact date. I would say approximately a month. Do you know what street Dr. Rose is or what his office is on? Not offhand. I have it in my papers on my card for appointments, but offhand I couldn't say. Do you know Dr. Rose's first name? No, I don't. Is it a man or a lady? It's a man. Do you know what type of doctor Dr. Rose is? He's a neurologist. Do you have a physician that you would describe your family physician as? I had no family physician because I hadn't been to a doctor before this happened for 8 years. Other than Dr. Rose, had you been treated for any other or by any other physician in the last calendar year? Not another physician, no. Let me just object for the record as vague and ambiguous. Is that including chiropractors and alternative healthcare providers? No, just physicians. MDs? Yes. Okay, go ahead. And is that the way you understood the question, ma'am? Yeah. Now let's expand on that. Other than Dr. Rose, have you been seen by any healthcare professional? And by that, I'm including physical therapist, chiropractor, nurse, or hospital. Pardon me, let me change that. Yes, ma'am. I forgot. I have to go for blood pressure tests every 2 months at the physician's. And who is that with, ma'am? That's at the county facilities. San Bernardino County Hospital? Yes, I'm sorry, it escaped me. That's okay. Well, again, we're not here to trick you, okay? Just learn the information. And if you ask me what I had for lunch yesterday, I'm afraid I probably couldn't tell you, so don't be embarrassed about that. So you go in every 2 months for a blood pressure check? Yes, they send me a notice to come in about it. Do you take medication for high blood pressure? Yes, I do. How long have you taken medication for high blood pressure? Since I was in the emergency from the accident. What is the medication you take? I'm not sure what it's called, but it's 60 milligrams is all I know. Okay, and did you say that you ever took heart medication of any type prior to June of 2011? No, I did not. All right, so let's go ahead and do our read back. Okay. I'm going to read this once at 180, once at 200, and the last time at 225. You're going to hear vehicle, eastbound, conversation, accelerated, pedestrian, proceeding, in other words, Mrs. Boyd, red light, Mr. Miller, pursuing, Vermont, motion. All right, and this is going to be plaintiff questioning. Here we go. This will be at 180. Now, you saw one vehicle in motion, which was proceeding away from you in an eastbound direction. That is correct. Did you see any other vehicles in motion, either going east or west, at the time you saw this eastbound vehicle? No, sir. Did you see any pedestrians around the street or in the street itself? Not in the street, no, sir. In other words, when you say you saw this vehicle going east at a normal rate of speed, approximately what number of miles per hour do you mean? Well, the vehicle didn't attract my attention as far as being a speeding vehicle. It appeared to be just driving at a normal rate of speed for that street at that time of night. Now, when you had this conversation with Mrs. Boyd, did she relate anything about this eastbound moving vehicle? Yes, she did. All right, now as a result of that conversation, what did you and Mr. Miller do? We immediately pursued the vehicle. Now, when you say you pursued the vehicle, will you tell us just what you did? We turned on the red lights of the police vehicle and accelerated rapidly in pursuit of the vehicle. Did the police unit stop the vehicle that you were pursuing? Yes, sir. And where did you stop the vehicle? At what location? We stopped the vehicle on Vermont. All right, let's do it again at 200. Here we go. Now, you saw one vehicle in motion which was proceeding away from you in an eastbound direction. That is correct. Did you see any other vehicles in motion, either going east or west, at the time you saw this eastbound vehicle? No, sir. Did you see any pedestrians around the street or in the street itself? Not in the street, no, sir. In other words, when you say you saw this vehicle going east at a normal rate of speed, approximately what number of miles per hour do you mean? Well, the vehicle didn't attract my attention as far as being a speeding vehicle. It appeared to be just driving at a normal rate of speed for that street at that time of night. Now, when you had this conversation with Mrs. Boyd, did she relate anything about this eastbound moving vehicle? Yes, she did. All right, now as a result of that conversation, what did you and Mr. Miller do? We immediately pursued the vehicle. Now, when you say you pursued the vehicle, will you tell us just what you did? We turned on the red lights of the police vehicle and accelerated rapidly in pursuit of the vehicle. Did the police unit stop the vehicle that you were pursuing? Yes, sir. And where did you stop the vehicle? At what location? We stopped the vehicle on Vermont. All right, so let's do it one last time at 225. Now, you saw one vehicle in motion which was proceeding away from you in an eastbound direction. That is correct. Did you see any other vehicles in motion, either going east or west, at the time you saw this eastbound vehicle? No, sir. Did you see any pedestrians around the street or in the street itself? Not in the street, no, sir. In other words, when you say you saw this vehicle going east at a normal rate of speed, approximately what number of miles per hour do you mean? Well, the vehicle didn't attract my attention as far as being a speeding vehicle. It appeared to be just driving at a normal rate of speed for that street at that time of night. Now, when you had this conversation with Mrs. Boyd, did she relate anything about the eastbound moving vehicle? Yes, she did. All right, now as a result of that conversation, what did you and Mr. Miller do? We immediately pursued the vehicle. Now, when you say you pursued the vehicle, will you tell us just what you did? We turned on the red lights of the police vehicle and accelerated rapidly in pursuit of the vehicle. Did the police unit stop the vehicle that you were pursuing? Yes, sir. And where did you stop the vehicle? At what location? We stopped the vehicle on Vermont. All right, so let's read that back. All right, I'll read this back and you are going to compare it with your notes and see how you did. Plaintiff, question. Now, you saw one vehicle in motion which was proceeding away from you in an eastbound direction. Answer, that is correct. Question, did you see any other vehicles in motion, either going east or west, at the time you saw this eastbound vehicle? Answer, no, sir. Question, did you see any pedestrians around the street or in the street itself? Answer, not in the street, no sir. Question, in other words, when you say you saw this vehicle going east at a normal rate of speed, approximately what number of miles per hour do you mean? Answer, well, the vehicle didn't attract my attention as far as being a speeding vehicle. It appeared to be just driving at a normal rate of speed for that street at that time of night. Question, now when you had this conversation with Mrs. Boyd, did she relate anything about this eastbound moving vehicle? Answer, yes, she did. Question, all right. Now, as a result of that conversation, what did you and Mr. Miller do? Answer, we immediately pursued the vehicle. Question, now, when you say you pursued the vehicle, will you tell us just what you did? Answer, we turned on the red lights of the police vehicle and accelerated rapidly in pursuit of the vehicle. Question, did the police unit stop the vehicle that you were pursuing? Answer, yes, sir. Question, and where did you stop the vehicle? At what location? Answer, we stopped the vehicle on Vermont. So feel free to look at each take to compare how you did. Okay, so that concludes our High Speeds live class. Have a wonderful day.